Hi, Andre.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So, today we're going to be talking about more spiritual truths and about my journey and when I went to Arthur Findlay College quite a few years ago.
Yep, so I'm going to ask you a series of questions, kind of
Yeah,
like I
sure.
did last
Yeah.
time on that. First of all, what is Arthur Findlay College and where is it?
I think Arthur Findlay College has been established for many, many years. And it used to be an old homestead and it was owned by different people, but then it was actually bought for the study of psychic sciences
Wow.
and for spiritual development.
Yeah,
And
wow.
it's located in Stansted in the UK, which is not too far from from London, and it's also got its own airport.
Wow, is that right? It's an
Yeah,
airport.
it's only not the actual college, but
Right, that
Stansted
area.
has, and also
Yeah,
attracts some people internationally from the whole world.
no doubt.
Yeah, it's renowned.
Sounds like Hogwarts, witchcraft and wizardry.
No, it's nothing like that.
Nothing like
It's
that.
further from the truth,
Right,
actually.
okay.
It's very grounding
Yeah,
and it's very real.
yeah,
And so it's all about, it's under the Spiritual National Union, which is about a religion. It's about spiritualism and it's about a science.
Okay.
And very normal people there. Well, I find them very normal to me.
right.
But
Oh,
the place itself felt a bit spooky to me.
yeah, no
at
doubt.
first.
And we'll
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
But first, what made you decide to go there?
I think I referred to this in my previous podcast, but I came across somebody at a spiritual event
Yeah.
and I bumped into them and I just knew that I had to go. And it was really good because we were doing a Europe trip like we do from England. We go to Europe and do a bit of a tour around. And we were going to England and we were going to go to Ireland. And so my husband's family live in Ireland. So at the time I was going to go to England, he could spend time there.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So, so it was
That's
perfect timing.
very, very convenient.
It was very convenient, not only that it had the right class for me at the time as well, because they had different workshops and different events.
Ah, right. I thought you meant in like high class.
Oh, no. Funny.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. And what was the main things that you learnt there?
Main things I learned. I think a lot of the nonsense, I think I discussed it before, a lot of the nonsense and the beliefs that I had around mediumship
Yeah.
went.
Yeah.
And the airy fairy, some people say airy fairy, that sort of went, and
Yeah.
it became very real to me.
What's airy fairy?
Well, it's just, I don't want to go on about it really.
Okay, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
It's just some people think that this is mediumship and that's mediumship. To me, mediumship was a lot more real,
Okay.
a lot more evidential,
Yeah.
and people have got the right to their own beliefs. So I think a lot of that I left a lot of that behind.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you came there and learnt well-founded information on.
Well researched and well founded
Yeah.
information.
Well, cool. Okay.
Yes.
And what was your first impression when you got there?
I was terrified
Okay. And why is that?
because, as you said, it did look like it wasn't Hogwarts, but it
Yeah.
looked a bit like that.
Yeah.
And it looked scary. It looked like a big old haunted mansion.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I was terrified from the moment I saw it. I felt really
Right.
scared. And then the people that were arriving didn't seem to be my tribe either.
Right. Okay.
And I just thought, oh, this is going to be...
Were they like witches and wizards or?
No.
No.
They're very normal people, but they
Yeah.
just, without being judgmental,
Yeah.
I just thought, I don't know if they're the right people for me, if I'm going to fit in here. And it was quite scary. So it was the ladies at reception were lovely, but it was an old lift that we had to go up, which has now been replaced.
Right.
And thankfully, I had my husband with me and his friend Brendan,
Yeah.
and they went past the museum on the same level that I was in the room, and it had all these like ghosty pictures up and these scary looking things in there, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
And when we walked into my room, the curtain went like this, and I thought, oh no.
Yeah. Did someone just leave the window open or?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my
yeah.
imagination was,
For sure, as you would.
yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect. It's like anything, I didn't know what to expect. And then
Yeah.
Brendan was very resourceful,
Uh-huh.
but like very fatherly, and he gave me his phone number and said, if you're really terrified, give us a call, come and pick you up.
Wow.
So
yeah.
not
That's
long
nice.
after they left, it was
Yeah.
it really helped me.
Yeah.
It's like a parent taking their child to school for the first day.
Yeah.
And I did ring and the number didn't work. So I was stuck there.
Sink or swim. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
you
the-
survived, so.
Well, what happened, I went to meet everybody for a cup of tea and and I was going, oh, the energy in this place. I was saying, oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I thought, what are you talking about? I'm terrified. I didn't think it was wonderful.
Wow. Yeah.
Then I went into the sanctuary and it was incredible. It was like a beautiful chapel. It was gorgeous and I could feel the energy. And then we got straight into it, really. We started that night.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. So you started at night?
We had our first sort of meeting at night,
Okay.
and then it went from morning to the evenings. And I couldn't believe the tutors were incredible. Like, they demonstrated mediumship as well. And it's just no doubt in my mind about the other side and mediumship. One gave actual names and addresses of someone who'd passed.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was. And talked about the budgie that they owned.
Yeah.
And the budgie's name. And it was a blue budgie.
So that this is to someone else?
Yes. So the medium tutor, she was demonstrating to the audience.
Okay.
And someone they knew who it was.
Yeah.
So it was some relative of theirs.
Uh-huh.
And they knew the budgie, and they knew the budgie's name, they knew the address.
Wow.
And they knew the story about this blue budgie that used to come out and used to sit on their shoulder and eat crumbs off their lips.
That's disgusting.
What do you mean that's disgusting? I don't know.
I mean the bird, not the
bird
not the reading.
And I know, but it's still like really incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, okay. And so what were the main things that you were like when you were there? What was the main things you were learning?
I think I sort of put more to beginner's class at the time, which is actually really good. I had a fantastic. My first tutor was amazing.
Yeah,
I've
you
always
got
said
to
learn
build
from
that
the
foundation.
best. Yeah. And I remember having to do various exercises, and she's quite clever, and she's trying to get us to explain the difference between psychic, which I've discussed in my previous podcast, and mediumship. Yeah. And I just couldn't get the hang of it because, unbeknownst to me, I was always doing mediumship.
Right. And you thought you'd been a psychic.
Yeah, and the psychic is more about their energy. I found psychic a lot harder than mediumship. And I have to say, I got something wrong in my last podcast.
Did you?
Yes, because I talked about the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
That was actually someone from Spirit World giving it to me.
Okay.
And I don't know who it was.
Okay.
But I heard it, and it was coming from here. It wasn't coming in front of me.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to get the hang of psychic work because I was so into the mediumship. So that's one thing I really learnt.
Yeah.
And then I think it was also like meeting like-minded people that was interesting as well, amazing.
Right. Like-minded people from all different walks of life from around the world.
Yeah, we all had the same interest.
Yeah, so you're bonded by that interest.
Yeah, so we were there for like 6 nights, I think.
Right.
And I met these girls that we were different classes, but we kept on linking in and we became this little group.
Mm-hmm. The Covenant.
No, that was something else a long time ago. But there was a whole group of us, and we actually came back and met again a year later.
Wow, that's cool.
We just were so sad to say goodbye to each other. It was incredible. So the psychic versus mediumship, that the reality, the evidence, that a lot of the stuff, the airy fairy stuff, I realised wasn't really real, and it was really grounding for me. Yeah. I had some amazing experiences though.
Right. Okay. And what were they?
I think one of the experiences that I had was we had to do we had to do one-on-ones, or we had to do like a demonstration where you demonstrate mediumship to a group of people. Yeah. But the one-on-one we did was like, speed dating, but it was speed readings.
Okay. So you have like 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was, a few minutes. Okay. And we had to present a symbol. We had to give everybody a symbol. Mm-hmm. And this girl that was a friend of mine, she's Dutch from Holland, she was an amazing medium. And the backstory to that is that when my father passed, I was devastated. Mm-hmm. And 6 weeks after he'd passed, I'd gone to Italy. And I was with a partner at the time who was an actor, and his mum. And my father didn't really travel much. He'd gone to a little bit in the war, and I think he travelled to Norfolk Island, but that's all he'd done. I think was it Norfolk? No, to Sydney once. That's all he'd done.
He's just gone to Sydney.
He went to Sydney, and he did the islands growing when he was in the Air Force. Yeah. But he never really travelled. Okay. And when I went to Rome, I got really upset because the sights in Rome were incredible. Mm-hmm. And we went to the ruins, and I just thought my father being a builder. He could do design and build. He just loves stuff like this, and he never got to see it.
Right, it's like the pinnacle of human architecture.
The pinnacle, because Dad was almost like an architect. Right.
Yeah.
And I broke down crying because he'd only just passed like 6 weeks before.
Yeah.
And I just thought, why did Dad not see all this? This is not
Mm-hmm.
fair. And and my boyfriend at the time and his mother couldn't understand my grief. I couldn't stop sobbing, but I broke down. So that's the backstory. So this girl didn't know anything about me. And she said, I've got an acting mask. And I went, wow. And then I went to say something. She said, stop. No, because I was going to interfere with the information she was getting
Mm-hmm.
by engaging her logical mind.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, stop, stop. And then she said, I've got your father here. I thought, okay. She doesn't know my father's passed.
Yeah.
And she said, I've got an acting mask. And I thought, mm-hmm. And then she said, you're with somebody who was an actor, who did acting. I said, yes, that's correct. And she said, he's telling me that you went and visited Rome not long after he'd passed away. And I said, that's right. And she said, you broke down. Your father's telling me that you're really upset because he didn't see all these lovely ruins and everything that you're looking at the time. And I said, absolutely, 100%. I feel really, really emotional even now talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to cry.
Yeah.
And my dad came through and said, you were so upset, but I was there with you the whole time.
Wow, that's amazing.
That really hit me. I just thought, how on earth?
Yeah, and that's all happened in like a 5-10 minute conversation.
Absolutely. She was really switched on.
Wow, that's incredible.
She was very experienced, but she was just one of the students and one of my friends.
Right.
So I befriended her
Yeah.
there, but she didn't know anything about my history.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And the other experience I had was a girl that was sitting at our table.
Mm-hmm.
She had the most angelic eyes, or blue eyes, almost beautiful. Every time I looked at her, I thought, what's it about you? There's something really special about you. You feel like an angel.
Mm-hmm.
Every day when she looked at me.
Yeah.
And then she got up and did a talk about how she had 2 near-death experiences.
Wow.
And she talked about one in particular, I remember, when she had pneumonia. And she basically came out of her body and she went to the other world. And she said the spirit world met her and they said they worked on her. So she described these as spirit guides, which could be another podcast, spirit guides, and spirit people. And they worked on her and they told her it wasn't her time and that she was going to come back.
Wow.
And she was really altruistic. She was a really kind, giving, gentle soul.
Yeah.
And for some reason, she had these 2 near-death experiences, something about her.
Yeah.
That was fabulous. And then there was another girl I was drawn to, but she had green eyes, but had the same look. It's this look, you can't describe it.
Right.
It's like otherworldly.
Yeah.
And she also had an accident, and she had a near-death experience, and very similar.
Was she altruistic as well?
Very.
Yeah.
Just
Imagine
something-
if you were to face
Yeah.
death, essentially, not just face it, but kind of experience it. That would lead you to be more altruistic, more humbling, because it would sort of put reality into perspective a little bit, right?
I think they just learned something. We know there's something special, something deeper, but they like reviewed their life. Apparently, often people review their lives when they go over. So
you probably learn that all the silly things that we get upset about, all the selfishness, it's all matters to nothing.
absolutely.
And so you might as well, be kind. You might as well be helpful and be a loving soul.
Yeah,
because there's so much more to gain over the long term.
And they say the eyes are the windows of the soul, don't they?
Yes,
and you could just
do,
absolutely see through their eyes there's something extremely special with them.
Right.
So that was one experience that I had. And there's if anybody wants to look into near-death experiences, there's a gentleman called Sam Pania. Mm-hmm. He's a cardiac surgeon and he has studied it. Wow. And he wrote a book about what happens to us when we die, and I couldn't put his book down.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. He must. There must be so many examples of near-death experiences.
Yes.
And he would see it, right? And so would so many other thousands of surgeons. They must come into contact. They come into contact with those people straight afterwards.
Yeah. So
over and over
a
again.
lot of them people say there's something wrong with the brain experience, a chemical. He explained all the scientific reasons why it can't be that.
Yeah.
And he still actually talks now. Sam Pani talks. He's done talks and find them on YouTube about near-death experiences. And he said that our brains are computers, a bit like the TV is a computer, and that our spirit and our soul, our consciousness. He said our consciousness is outside ourselves. It's not our consciousness in our brain, it's outside ourselves.
Yeah.
And so when we pass, his consciousness goes to a different place. That's how he
Right.
describes it.
Yeah.
So with a TV, the satellite sends a message to the TV, which is like our brain, and then we can see it. So that's how he says
Projects
that
it,
our
yeah.
consciousness is not actually
Yeah.
our physical, our consciousness outside ourselves.
This is just a meat sack carrying our TV around with us,
Basically.
projecting from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I learned and got delved into. The other experience was I decided to get a spiritual assessment with Brenda, and I thought, how do you know that? She just said things to me that
So Brenda's the lady.
she was my tutor,
Okay. Yeah.
and she said to me that because I said I'm Kerry-Marie, and she said, no, you're not. You're born. Your first name's Kerry. Your middle name's Marie. I said yes, but I call myself Kerry-Marie. She said no, you're Kerry. And I thought, wow, okay, all right. See, I can't pretend, can I? I have to be honest about that.
Yeah.
I call myself Kerry-Marie because it's more feminine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So then she went on to say, now I also, something I never discuss with people, I have this beautiful spiritual experience that happens to me from time to time. In my book, I mention and say that it's the angels are visiting me. It's some spiritual dimension, and it comes and it's really comforting. And I can't articulate it, but I get, there's a sort of a sound I get like shh, sort of a sound like that. I see these beautiful visions. It's like squiggly lines, and I've seen black and white squiggly lines. I've seen colourful, and the feeling I get is just out of this world. And I don't tell people because it's my experience. It's nobody else's.
Sure.
Some would say I've taken drugs, but I haven't.
Yeah.
It's just a natural experience. And she told me about this. She said, you get visitations. It's like an angelic experience. I said, oh my goodness, how did you know that? And then the other thing, she said that you're separate from your family. And I said, oh, yes, because I've got 5 brothers and I'm the only girl. And she says, nothing to do with that. She said, you are born separate and you've been separate from your family. And the weird thing about it, I've always felt like I've been separate. I've always felt I was different and I couldn't understand why. I never felt I fitted the groove of my family.
Yeah.
And
Not cut from the same cloth.
I wasn't cut from the same cloth, but I had the same parents.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that amazing how that happens?
yes,
You know, same nurture, different nature.
I was a daughter, so and I was
Right, so there
near
was
the end of the
difference.
family, but
Yeah.
so it was that I just felt different, and I had spiritual experiences, and they know that I did.
Yeah.
I got spooked out, and I saw things, and I heard things, so I was just different.
Yeah.
Right from the get go.
Yeah.
And then also being brought up Catholic, and then I guess I had to. It gave me a sense of spirituality, but I pulled away from that and became my own person. So that's why I am quite separate. But she also said to me something that was painful. It was so painful. And it's taken me a long time to accept it, a long time, is that they're never going to accept you. I'm sure they love me, but they don't accept me,
Yeah.
accept what I do.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
it's
quite difficult,
and it's
yeah.
painful. I imagine it's, incredibly painful. But as painful as it is, it's probably really important to understand that, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
stop trying.
When you understand that, you can go, well, there's nothing sort of I can do to fix that.
Yeah.
And you can just move on with life.
I think, to be honest, I'm a bit of a stubborn person. I think at times I've tried.
Yeah.
I've kept trying, but it
Naturally.
hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And they're entitled to be who they are.
Sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
entitled to be who I am. So
Yeah.
I think going to the Arthur Findlay College as well is that I learned to really explore and awaken my spirituality and grow personally and mediumistically as well. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. And did you meet like-minded people? Really sort of talk. Yeah.
You know what's really interesting is that we all have the same belief, the same experiences and the same passion, and we're all different walks of life. We're from all around the world, and we have this commonality.
Yeah.
It was so amazing.
That connects you.
And
Yeah.
we all felt different.
Yeah.
So we'd sit there at breakfast, lunch, dinner, at the bar at night,
Right. That's when the true mediumship happens.
sometimes,
Yeah.
and then outside in the evenings, and that's all we talked about. Or
Yeah.
we just talked about nothing else but mediumship, spiritual experiences. It's just that we just soaked ourselves in it. It was
Yeah.
just And if anybody has managed to go to the Arthur Findlay College or they got to do that, I really suggest it because it's an incredible experience.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
There'll
it's
be nothing
wonderful.
like that in this sort of side of the world, right? It's
There's
this ancient.
Lilydale, which is in America, which is a little bit different
Right.
again.
Yeah, yeah. But I
But,
mean, like, America has its own thing going on. It's new compared to,
They're
Europe,
old,
right?
yeah,
That sort
exactly.
of really old, historic. I can
Yes.
imagine, I always, go to the churches and cathedrals over there, the old ones, and you just see like the smoothed cobbles. And whenever I'm walking over them, I just think
Oh my
these
goodness.
cobbles have been smoothed over 1,000 years of how many thousands of monks and people have walked over these to make them smooth, and if the amount of history
Yes,
in those places, right? And you
it's
think of
incredible.
the
Yeah,
spiritual places, the amount of sort of spiritual energy, if that's what you call it,
yeah.
what those places hold.
I went
So
back there more than
yeah,
once. I had a group of friends and
yeah,
we had a reunion, like I said, but there was one time I went
yeah,
that I'll never forget. And we went into this place called the library, and they said this we're going to have a really special experience. And they so spirit appeared, but how it appeared was like like fireworks, but it was like bright white lights, and we just sitting there,
yeah,
and it was just like like
yeah,
everybody could physically watch these bright white lights just darting around the room.
yeah.
A whole group of people, the energy in there, the
Crazy.
power.
Yeah,
No, we could all see it. I mean,
yeah,
there's no way you could make that happen.
yeah,
It was very real,
yeah,
and that was just absolutely incredible.
yeah. Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's an amazing place.
Yeah, and so you went there. You've been there a couple of times.
And more than that, I went about
Yeah.
I went 8 to 10 times to
Well,
Arthur Findlay
okay.
College.
Different courses each time, or
Yeah, different courses.
yeah,
And I say that mediums almost can be a bit addictive
yeah,
because it's such a beautiful energy, and there's nowhere else you can go to get that quality, the quality
Right.
of mediumship and the power and the information
yeah,
and the belief and the knowing there.
yeah,
And I just kept on going back.
yeah. Okay.
But luckily my son Bernard lived there,
Yeah.
so he
Oh,
lived in England, in
yeah,
the UK for a while, so I gave me an excuse to go over.
yeah. Two birds, one stone.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I went on later to do my formal training.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Arthur Findlay College is part of the Spiritual National Union.
Right. So okay, and so when you do these courses, you did this initial course. You came back to New Zealand. Were you now this like whole new medium?
No,
All right. Yeah.
so that was quite a pressure on me because I actually was going to a circle at the time, and this lady said to me, "Oh, well, you've been to Arthur Findlay College, so you must be this amazing medium." And I said, "No, I'm not." And it's just like if you go to the gym, right?
Yeah. Can you tell?
Yeah, I got it. Pardon?
I said, can you tell?
Absolutely, of course. Look at those muscles. But have you been to the gym and been given a program?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and you're given a program, so can you suddenly get fit just being given a program?
No, you got to put in the work.
A lot of effort. So
Yeah.
you've got to be consistent,
Yeah.
regular,
Yeah.
committed.
Uh huh.
So it's exactly the same thing.
Right. Makes sense.
So I just was really committed.
Yeah.
The other thing that Brenda talked to me about was I did a lot of, she picked up I was doing a lot of reading, and I went through a whole year just reading. I couldn't get enough of spiritual books. So reading, I did circles, I did meditation,
Yeah.
and then I did readings on people, and I just kept on practicing and practicing and practicing.
Right. Okay. So Arthur Findlay College isn't a shortcut to become a great medium. It
No.
just like everything in life, it takes a lot of graft and work.
It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So I guess that's another one of my spiritual truths. It's just,
Yeah.
you said to me, is anybody a psychic or a medium? And
Yeah.
basically, I guess some people don't believe that I said that if you're open to it, anybody can learn most things in life.
Yeah.
Some people think that mediumship's like the special, unique gift, and they're welcome to think that. But I think that some people are more likely to be able to do that. Like if you're artistic,
Right.
you can develop that naturally. It's a natural ability.
Sure.
So
Like you got it more an inclination towards it,
Well,
and,
if you're
we'll pick up on it a lot faster.
well, if you get like sports people, that runs
Yeah.
in families, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Look at the Barrett brothers in rugby.
Yeah.
Sort of runs in families. You've got that genetic makeup.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same with...
But anyone can learn to be a rugby player. They just might not be the best rugby player.
No.
Right? Yeah.
And that's what I think. So you can have sort of a tendency and a gift. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And I think some people would struggle.
Yeah.
Maybe give up more than... Like I would struggle to be an accountant. I could try, but I'd probably give up.
Yeah. But you could be one if you put in enough work.
But I probably would hate it.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
So if it's not a natural thing, then it'd be harder to develop that.
Yeah.
So,
but even if you had a natural inclination to be an accountant and you went into an accountancy course, you wouldn't be a great accountant until you've practiced it and had years of experience.
You've experience, that's right.
Yeah.
But I really think the passion's a real part of it. I think
Sure.
the passion for me too, as I love the spirit world, they're so beautiful. They give me so much joy, but it's how I help other people. And because grief is a really hard thing for... If I look at me with my father
Yeah.
and how much that helped me.
Yeah.
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 I was very grieved myself when my mum passed. And it was a medium that gave me the most help. I couldn't sleep
Yeah.
because my mum, I'd nursed her and at the end, and I used to wake up in the middle of the night think she was going to die. She had cancer.
Yeah.
And after she'd passed, I found her glasses on the fridge. I thought, oh, Mum's glasses. I got them here. And I went to a show, and this medium called Meg Simpson is a fantastic medium. She's now passed. She described my mother as this short little lady who was very Catholic and everything about my mum, really, a mum and everything. And she had quite a strong personality.
Yeah.
He said she had a heart of gold, which is interesting because I'd written a poem about her
That's
having a
right, I
heart of
remember
gold.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. But you know the thing that clinched it for me? She said, your mum's telling me you've got her glasses.
Yeah.
And I just found them that day.
Spooky.
Well, it was amazing because what happened, I slept like a baby that night.
Yeah.
Because I think when you lose someone, like they've been here
Yeah.
in the flesh,
Yeah.
and then...
For your entire life.
Yeah, and
Right.
suddenly they've gone.
Yeah.
And where are they? Where's my mum?
Yeah. You don't want to believe that they've just disappeared.
No,
right?
no one wants to believe that they've just disappeared.
Yeah.
And so it's so consoling and healing and important for people. So if I can help other people by communicating to the spirit world to help them through their grief process, it's such a joy and it's a privilege. I see it as a real privilege. And I actually feel it's part of my duty as a human being.
Oh, that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my duty and my calling.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
So that's basically what the Arthur Findlay College did for me, and it was part of my journey.
Yeah. Wow. So it gave you the it helped sharpen your tools, but really you had to learn how to use them.
Absolutely, and I'd say that to anybody that I'd say go to the best, like I've always said.
Yeah.
Read really good books.
Yeah.
Be around people that support you, people that love you, and also if you want to get a reading from someone, I would suggest that you do your research. Just don't go to any old body because anything where you're going to a therapist of any sort, you actually can be quite vulnerable.
Oh, for sure.
And I personally have been hurt through psychics and mediums. So I would always, only because they, with all due respect, I don't know if they're really doing it. I don't know. I don't want to judge them, but maybe they're not doing it quite the right way. And maybe they need to learn how to do it. So I think just be really careful who you go to. Do your research.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I think if someone else has referred you, that's always a good thing to do as well.
Definitely.
So I'd suggest that if you're going to someone, I'd also suggest if you want to develop to read quite a bit, to meditate, join a circle, and go to the right mentors and right people. And I'd also, you can actually practice on friends. But the caution I'd give people that want to be mediums is that you're not God, you're not knowing, you don't know everything, and you're not a fortune teller.
Right, you're just passing on a message.
Yes, and you cannot diagnose and you cannot prescribe.
Okay. Well, that sounds, well, from someone that knows nothing about it, that sounds like sound advice.
Yes, so they could suggest, say that, like I think in Gavin's one, he talked about how I felt that there's something with his body and that he hadn't been eating vegetables or something. So, but I was just saying, you go to a doctor, or you could feel there's something to do with your finances, but I'd always say go and see a financial person.
Right. Yeah. So you're just
Or
passing on a message, you're not giving advice.
I'm not a counsellor
Yeah.
as well, so I refer people on. So you got to be very mindful, is the word,
Okay.
and very careful. And you're there to help people, help them through the journey of their life, through their own journey, finding themselves, their purpose, and also very much with grief. And it's an honour.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the end of my podcast. I'd really love it if you could like this to help the podcast, and as well subscribe or follow. Blessings and love, Kerry-Marie.